the main thing is this. Did Genghis Khan, did
Yeah.
Alexander the Great, did any of these mass killers that came onto this planet choose that? And was it a necessity for humanity? Because they did do a lot of shifting in humanity's
Yes.
timeline.
Yes, in certain ways. Now, how that gets to be done can be done in different ways. But
Okay.
a player can say, I'm going to be some kind of chaotic disruption because that's going to help humanity discover something they otherwise probably wouldn't discover as fast. Because when we are pitted against certain challenges,
Of
we
course.
do tend to overcome and accelerate by transforming them because we are now forced to. So it is one methodology. It's kind of the analogy that Bashar gives of, look, you go to see a play, and in the play, there's a hero and there's someone playing the villain. But when the play is done, they get together, they're friends, and they go out and have a beer together. They're no longer those characters, but they did agree to play a part. Now, how those parts are played doesn't necessarily mean it has to be the most dastardly, heinous, terrible, horrifying thing, but it does get chosen to be something that is going to cause humanity to react to it in a way that will force them to face things that help them figure out how to make sure that doesn't happen again, how to overcome those kinds of challenges, those kinds of limitations. So, yes, we are playing this yin yang game, and souls do choose to be on one side or another for that purpose. But we still have free will, and therefore we can determine for ourselves how it is that that can happen. So it doesn't necessarily have to be as extreme as it's been. And I think that's mostly the product of forgetting who we are and getting caught up in certain ideas of what it takes to do something. So, in other words, I'll use this example. Let's say you're talking to a criminal that uses a gun to get their way. When people think and have been taught that that is a sign of power, then of course they're going to use those weapons to gain what they believe is self-empowerment because they don't know any other way to do it. But when you teach them, look, using a gun is actually a sign that you believe you're too weak to get what you need in life any other way. So using that gun, forcing people to do things your way is actually a sign that you believe you are weak. And when people start to understand that, then they really start to be taught how to really understand what power is, because power is creative. It doesn't take any power to destroy. Any
Mhm.
kid can come along and knock a bunch of blocks over, but to build the blocks up, that's true power. So when people are taught that, then there can be, let's just say, more Zen-like ways in which someone that needs to teach humanity lessons can be done in ways that are not so destructive. They can still be polarized in energies in certain ways, but they don't have to be so destructive. There can be images that are presented, ideas that are presented, actions that are done that still force parts of society to examine a concept and transform that concept in ways that can move humanity forward. But they don't have to be so destructive because those people don't have to experience things as expressions of weakness anymore. They actually have become the avatars of change by using what might be a negative energy to create a positive effect in a different way than we've been doing it because we don't forget who we are anymore and we don't forget what our source of power actually is. So that can
So,
change time.
okay. So so in other words, no one's on the other side going, I'm going to be Darth Vader and this is the exact path I'm going to go down. to change the universe. I'm going to have something traumatic happen to me. And I think at a grand scheme, like a broad stroke, I'm like, I'm going to do something that's going to wake up the universe. Well, in Darth Vader's example, wake up the universe essentially, because I've been given all this because, and let's go, because you and I are both filmmakers and geeks, film
Mm,
geeks. On a story standpoint, and I think this goes with everybody, anyone who's ever done anything negative in this world,
mm,
in a mass way, Genghis Khan, Hitler, these kind of people. They were given a gift and great power. They
mm.
could have easily used that power for a more positive way than
Yes.
a negative way. So someone like, um, for like, I'm Cuban, so Fidel Castro. Fidel
Mm,
Castro, really went in and took over, but he had a gift of being able to convince and lead people, and he's a great speaker and auditor, to be able to he could have easily done a lot of good, but he decided to go down the other path that we're still, there's still ripples of. Same thing for Hitler. Hitler could have been a positive force, but he
yes.
shifted, right?
Again, people forget who they are. They forget their connection to source. I'm going to
Mm,
give another example.
yeah,
Let's look at Gandhi.
yeah.
Now, in order to teach humanity certain things, he did some things that are actually considered to be, for most people, negative actions. Hunger strikes to the point where he's almost starving himself to death. On the surface, looks like a suicidal negative action, but done for a reason to make a point that did transform many people in society and did
Mm,
transform his culture in certain ways. So that's more what I'm talking about. Someone that comes in and can use what might look like negative means, you know, what what they call, I'm losing the term at the moment, but sort of protesting in a positive way, standing up for what you believe, that in a way that might seem from society's point of view to be a negative thing, like the person that stood in front of the tank in Tiananmen Square,
Not
you know,
nonviolent resistance,
nonviolent
essentially.
resistance, but it's still resistance. And therefore it still has that quality of saying, no, I'm going to do something in a way that most people in society would never think to do, that might seem very disruptive to society, but I'm going to be doing this for an incredibly positive reason of allowing people to see what's going on. So because I haven't forgotten who I am, I haven't forgotten my connection, and therefore I'm expressing true self-empowerment here, even though many people may look at it as a negative thing. And I'm forcing society to look at something that can help them choose to go in a different direction. So it's that kind of difference that I think we're talking about when people do plan things. But with the caveat, in some ways, on some levels, that if a spirit believes or feels that it is necessary to do something beyond the bounds of what society will accept negatively, that will actually cause a much more positive effect in the evolution of humanity, a soul could still choose to do it that way. And I know that's a hard thing to understand.
Mm.
But again, you have to look at the combination of factors and not just purely say, yeah, I'm going to be Hitler and I'm going to kill millions of people. That's too simplistic of an idea. But if a soul makes a decision to, I'm going to command attention in a lot of ways, and I'm going to put forth ideas that are going to be controversial, and I'm going to cause people to either react to that negatively or respond to it somehow and consider what I'm saying, there's still the extra factor that in physical reality, you still have the ability to forget who you are and think you have to do it in ways that are beyond what you actually probably really needed to do because you've just lost track of what you actually decided to do in spirit, and you got caught up in the physical materiality of things and think, oh, this is the only way this can be done. I have to kill people to do this. When in fact, there could have been another way that you could have made the same points that you thought you needed to make as a spirit, but then you get caught up in the idea of forgetting who you are in physical materiality, and you get caught up in the ways that you see other people doing things and think, well, that's just the way I'm going to have to do it. You just
So
forget.
you get lost in the part. So
You
the
get lost.
actor forgets that,
Yeah,
Keanu Reeves forgets he's Keanu Reeves and he believes he's John Wick.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's
That's what happens here. That's what happens here is you forget what you are as the soul being that made the choice to help humanity move forward through what might be seen as some quote unquote energetically negative means. But yeah, you actually become the part, you forget who you really are, you get caught up in the act, and then, things go sour.
To watch the full video, click on the link below and don't forget to subscribe.